Look, it's the greatest postseason sporting event of all time.
Beamy.
All right, I love football's my favorite sport. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and cap like it's not, but outside of football, this is without a doubt, hands down, 100% my favorite time of year. It's the NCAA tournament, March Madness, baby, and we're releasing the bracket challenge today. The link is going to be in the description. The link to the terms and conditions are going to be in the description. You can win $1,000 and it's free to enter. Basically, if you're a red-blooded American, you need to sign up for this bracket challenge. That's the way I feel about it.
I feel that way too.
But we're going to get to that. There's something that's more important going on right now that I just found out. Did you guys know that Oreo has a doomsday vault?
A doomsday vault?
Yes. Okay, here we go.
What y'all planning?
No. It's not what they're planning. It's not what they're planning. It's what they're getting ready in case something happens. So, since 2008, I'm going to try and pronounce this right. I don't speak Norwegian. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault in Norway has served as one of the last lines of defense against the annihilation of plant life on Earth. All right, if Will Smith can't save us, Bruce Willis can't save us, this is like option 3. All right? It's a secure facility built into the side of a mountain, and it holds over 100 seed samples. With that in mind, Oreo, the company, grabbed some land right down the road from Svalbard Global Seed Vault and built its own global Oreo vault. So the other day, we talked about zombie apocalypse. Where are we going? All right? Blaine set up, we talked about going an island. People are saying you need to go up in the air somehow. Well, regardless of where you're going, we are going to Norway. I'll find a way. I'll World War Z this thing, Brad Pitt in the plane. We'll find a way to get there. And we are going to the Oreo vault. And if you don't like Oreos, then that's fine. You don't come.
I'm not going.
Good. You're not invited.
Here, let me go out of the way to go to Norway to get some Oreos.
Yeah, well, look.
That's why you'd live.
Yeah, sounds great.
People gone to Norway. People gone to Norway for way worse stuff.
What are y'all planning? No one has a vault that's supposed to make it through a zombie apocalypse unless you're planning something.
Look, I love Oreos, and I love the ingenuity. That means years from now, they'd find Oreo cookies in the recipe and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But is there not a better use of resources here? Are there not other stuff we can put in a vault?
Look, guys, I know civilization's dead, but
for doomsday?
We got some
David,
Oreos left.
No.
For doomsday?
No. There's not. What you need? Oreos and water. What else do you need? I mean, I don't need anything else.
All right.
And then hundreds of years.
You
die first.
bite me.
Jake
bite me.
Well, guess what? I'll die eating Oreos. If they got milk in there,
that is a win.
If they got like tanks
Well, you
of
wanna
milk
go
in
out.
there
That is
too.
a win.
But if I'm going to get caught in a vault, stuck in a vault, Game of Thrones style, why did you lie to Daenerys? Here's the vault. I would love for it to be full of Oreos.
Yeah.
I could die peacefully there.
That's true.
Mid.
Jimmy Garoppolo, speaking of mid, Jimmy Garoppolo signs with the Raiders. Tim Brando joins us to talk some college hoops and the NCAA tournament, and we'll tell you how to enter our $1,000 March Madness Bracket Challenge of Madness in March. I'm Jake Crane, and this is Crane & Company. Hey, can you guys keep it down? A man with a vest is speaking. The Oakland Raiders continue to make more bad decisions than a deaf judge after signing Jimmy Garoppolo to replace Derek Carr and reunite him with Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels, which is fitting considering they are both incredibly mid. Now, Jimmy G signed for $67.5 million with $34 million guaranteed. And it's not that Jimmy G is that bad. He just isn't that good either. You basically signed Diet Derek Carr, except Jimmy G is way more injury prone. He missed 30 games after being named the 49ers starter. Derek Carr just cries at press conferences. Now, having Devontae Adams helps anybody. I don't care if you don't even have arms. But if Jimmy G couldn't take that 49ers team all the way with those weapons, how in the hell is he expected to do anything with an Oakland Raiders defense that has more holes than Camp Green Lake? Do not forget how many times that Niners defense bailed out that Niners offense. Now, unless the Raiders get a hell of a lot better on defense, Jimmy G has no chance to win anything. Now, some will say that there isn't that many quarterbacks out there, and to that I agree. Lamar Jackson's asking way too much, and there isn't much else on the market. So I get why they did it. But to me, it seems like you might as well rebuild it. That's what seems to be in order. And I know Raiders fans don't want to hear that. They're tired of rebuilding. But to quote one of our bosses here at the Daily Wire, facts don't care about your feelings.
They
I
don't.
don't care if you're in Las Vegas or not. I think I said Oakland a couple times, but hell, that's why I still call it Washington the Redskins. David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, joins me to my left. Blaine Crane, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, joins me to my right. Guys, a lot going on in the NFL. Free agency yesterday. I do want to make this point. As crazy as free agency is, there was 173 college basketball players that entered the transfer portal yesterday. Just think about that. 173. That's nuts. But when you look across the league, I mean, Jimmy G, let's start with Jimmy G to the Raiders, though, Cone. Your thoughts? How much does this help the Raiders? I feel like you could have just kept Jarrett Stidham, paid him less money, put together a better roster. Then maybe either Jarrett Stidham blossoms into the guy you want to keep, or you go find another guy. This just seems kind of just carrying over. Let's just continue to be mediocre.
And Jarrett Stidham out now, too.
Yeah.
Wanted to go to the Broncos.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So now he's out too. So now, you've wasted an opportunity with him, although I don't know if he would have been quarterback one in Las Vegas. But if the purpose of this was just to get a comparable quarterback to Derek Carr at a cheaper price and save money, then congratulations, mission accomplished. Why should that be the goal? I've been so disappointed in this Raiders franchise. I mean, when they went out and got John Gruden to give him a second chance with the Raiders, I really thought they were about to make some noise. Now, I was surprised that John Gruden, the quarterback whisperer, came in, saw what Derek Carr was capable of, and doubled down on Derek Carr. I thought John Gruden was going to go out and get his own quarterback. Like a franchise guy to really go and win Super Bowls with. He doubled down on Derek Carr, which that made me think, okay, if John Gruden sees something in this guy, maybe Derek Carr can be a Super Bowl winning type quarterback. Obviously, we know all of the news that's happened since then. You get Henry Ruggs, you have the car accident situation, he's gone. John Gruden fired himself, and now you're in a situation where your quarterback's gone, and you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, even though you have one of the best running backs in the league in Josh Jacobs, and you have one of the best wideouts in the league in Devontae Adams. I really don't understand the move unless this is a single-year gap play and maybe they still go make a run at someone in the draft. But I just don't understand what the Raiders have been doing. It's
got to be the answer, right? 7th pick. I mean, but are you going to get?
You got to go defense.
Are you going to get somebody at 7? Them getting Jimmy G tells me that they're going to try to get a quarterback in the draft.
And
whether that's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, but I don't know if they're going to be there at 7. I don't know, but you never know these days, especially with the teams drafting right now. But that's not the problem with the Raiders. It's the defense. That's always been the problem.
Why do you think them getting Jimmy G makes you think they're going to draft a quarterback?
I mean, why invest? I mean, this looks like a one-year thing to me. A couple of years, you're going to get a guy to sit behind Jimmy G, whether it's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. I mean, if you're really going to go invest in a guy, it's not like the Raiders had cap space to make a move if they really want to run at Lamar.
Well,
they could have made a run at Lamar.
But again, I mean, that I feel like that would eat up pretty much all your space. And if you need help on defense, it doesn't matter if you have Lamar Jackson or Heaven's Army on offense. It's not going to matter. The thing I look at the Raiders is, all right, if you're going to get Jimmy G and you're going to sign him and you're going to pay him, you better just load up the roster everywhere else and build it for that next guy. Because if you look at next year's draft, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You want to know what's going to happen? Jimmy G's going to get hurt about halfway through the year. There's no way this dude's making it through a full season. He just can't do it. And you're going to have somebody in the wings in that next draft to be able to say, you know what, Jimmy G is not the answer. Maybe he is a stopgap guy, David, and I think I actually err on the side of what you're saying. But to me, I would much rather build the roster around and then go get my guy in the draft and have him come into a great situation, a Brock Purdy situation, just things like that to where he has weapons, where he's not going out there like, I don't know, Bryce Young if he goes to the Texans at number 2 and you don't have anybody. You're just out there hoping. It's one thing to throw a guy into a fire. It's another thing to throw him into a volcano. At least when you're thrown in the fire, you have weapons. You're thrown in the volcano, you just burn to death.
This could be a Brock Purdy situation, though. I mean, Brock Purdy was drafted to come in and sit behind those guys, Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Heck, he wasn't even supposed to be the second string guy. He was the third string quarterback.
They just drafted him with the last pick.
Found himself starting football games. That's what, like, the expectation for guys to come in and start as rookies at the quarterback position in the NFL is so crazy these days. The fact that some guys have been able to come in and do it and have success is already mind-boggling to me. The thought always was you come in, you sit behind a guy for a couple years, learn under them, and then you take the reins. Again, Aaron Rodgers under Brett Favre was one of the best best cases that you could ever have for it. Now, we talked about this with Matt Moscona when it came to Hendon Hooker possibly going to the Saints, maybe sit behind Derek Carr for a couple of years and then be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. He made a good point that Hendon Hooker's already 25 years old. So by the time he would be the starter, he's off of his rookie deal. You don't get the cap hit, all that kind of stuff. But maybe to the Raiders could be a little bit different situation if you took a chance on someone like Hendon Hooker, brought him in 1 year under Jimmy Garoppolo or a half year under Jimmy Garoppolo if he gets injured. Maybe by that time, Hendon Hooker is healed up, could be the starting quarterback for the Raiders. That would be interesting. But they're in between picks for him. They have 7 and they have 38. Whereas I think Hendon Hooker could be a late 20s, early 30s.
Not going to make it to 38.
Yeah. So maybe you could trade back, or you just go get a great defensive option.
Well, that's why when you said that, Blaine, that's why I was asking the question. In my opinion, I thought you were saying with the 7th pick, they're going to go get a quarterback. I think they'd be crazy to do that. I think with that 7th pick, you've got to go get somebody, a young guy on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if that's somebody you put across Max Crosby to give him help, if that's a really nice safety, if that's a Mike, or who that is, but you need to go get some. If it's me, you want to know who I may take with that 7th pick? Y'all may think I'm crazy from the Raiders. Nolan Smith. Y'all may think I'm crazy. The way he tested and watching the reaction of the players, the Raiders need leaders. The Raiders need leadership. You got Max Crosby, a guy that's come from nothing, that's had his struggles, but you need a young guy to come in there and they say, all right, this is going to be the staple of our defense, and preferably in the middle. I don't know, go get Nolan Smith, maybe trade to go try and get Aaron Donald, something like that with the space you have. The Raiders do have options. I do want to say that. The Raiders do have options.
So here's the order now. The Panthers obviously moved up to take a quarterback, right? We think the Texans are going to take a quarterback. So Arizona, they'll go defense at 3.
Or trade.
Possibly. The Colts are going to take a quarterback, right, at 4? I mean, maybe not, but likely. Okay. So that means 3 of them off the board already and 1 defensive player off the board, whether that's the Washington from Georgia, whether that's
Will
Anderson Jr. from Alabama. So you got Seattle at 5, and we talked about this yesterday. Do they take the other edge rusher at that, or do they take the Christian Gonzalez kid from Oregon?
I think they go Will Anderson Jr. He just seems, I don't know why, it just seems.
It'll be either or.
Okay, so let's say they take the other defensive edge rusher, and then the Lions at 6, we were talking about yesterday, would be a great landing spot for Christian Gonzalez at 6. That means the Raiders are sitting there at 7, so you think Nolan Smith would be the next best defensive option. It's really not crazy.
No, I like... And I know the off-the-field stuff can only take you so far. I get it. But watching the reaction of his teammates at Georgia, a place that is loaded with NFL guys and big egos, watching their reaction to him have success told me a lot. I think that's the type of vibe and the type of mentality that the Raiders need to really try and take that next step. But speaking about the next step, all right, the biggest tournament in college basketball is here. All right, are you ready for the underdogs, the upsets, and the unbelievable action from DraftKings Sportsbook, the best sportsbook there is? You need to go download it right now because new customers can place $5 on college hoops and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all customers can score a no-sweat bet during round 1 and round 2 of the tournament. I saw it this morning. You basically get a free bet. All right, go to the app, opt in, and place a no-sweat bet this weekend. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. Guys, the 8-9 matchups, I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea right now. I've still gone back and forth.
I don't know either.
Every morning I wake up, I lean more toward Drake beating Miami because O'Meary that ankle doesn't look healthy, and if it's not, Drake's players are older than BYU's, so I'm going to lean on old guys when it comes to the tournament full of young guys. But you need to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and sign up with our code BOOSTER. That's BOOSTER, because like I said, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose. That is only at DraftKings Sportsbook with our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. And remember, our bracket challenge is being released. You can sign up right now. The link is in the description. The terms and conditions link is in the description as well, and we are blasting it all over social media. It's free to enter, and you can win up to $1,000. You can get that Christmas shopping done early or add another stack to the tax return. That's if you win. We all know I'm winning deep down. But Booster Club.
Also, I meant to say Jalen Carter.
I know what you
from
meant.
Georgia.
I know what you meant.
Not the
Darnell Washington's the tight end.
Yes, but Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech also edge. I was thinking about that too, because a lot of
he could be a
places
top
have
10 pick.
A lot of places have him top 8 pick as well. So that's another option where if it goes DN rather than the Christian Gonzalez kid.
And I'm telling you right now, on a side note, speaking of Texas Tech, Coach McGuire at Texas Tech, do not be shocked when Texas and Oklahoma leave. Texas Tech's the top 3 team in the Big 12 with the way they operate, the way they run. I'm telling you. That dude's got it cooking. Knows the coaches in Texas, the high school coaches really well, knows the area. That was such a home run hire. And if you've ever heard this guy talk, he is such a good fit in Lubbock. Joey McGuire, I'm telling you, our Coach McGuire, hell of a job.
All right, let's go to Jimbo Eagle with a $5 donation. Jimbo, he says, question for Jake. What happens to your boy Matt Corral now the Panthers traded up to the #1 pick?
Man, I lit a candle for my boy last night.
Yeah.
Look, Sam Darnold going to San Francisco, by the way. There's a bunch of stuff that's going on the periphery of the NFL. Here's my thing with Matt Corral. Just needs a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs a shot. Go somewhere where you can get a shot, man. If, the Panthers are going to take a quarterback, and if they draft a kid #1 overall, they're going to play him. Okay? They're going to play him pretty quickly. They don't draft guys #1 to sit the bench really anymore. With what you've seen in the league now, people are expected, Cone kind of alluded to it earlier, to play quicker than they ever have in the NFL at the quarterback position. I just think Matt Corral needs a shot. And Matt has to stay healthy. He's got to give himself a chance to have a chance. And I think he will. I'm telling you, man, something about the Matt Corral kid. We talk about moxie, and I'm not talking about, Mike Winchell, all right, from Permian. I'm talking about like a legit guy that can actually play in the NFL. It's one thing to have heart. It's another thing to have heart, an arm, and a mind. Those are different things.
Well, the thing that we had talked about a few weeks ago was we hadn't seen Matt Corral play football since the bowl game when he was at Ole Miss, right? That's a lot of time from now, and he had the injury. That staff knows more than we know right now in terms of Matt Corral's ability to play in the National Football League. They've been around him every single day. This move tells me they don't think Matt Corral can be a quarterback one in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
Coaches get it wrong a lot. Okay, maybe Matt Corral will move on and play elsewhere. I don't know. I certainly hope so. He was one of my favorite college players to watch. But you don't trade all these picks away to Chicago to go up to the #1, especially in this year's quarterback draft, unless you really think Matt Corral's not your guy moving forward.
Are we going to look up and see Matt Corral in the XFL or the USFL or somewhere like that?
I still hope we see him in the NFL.
I know. I hope we do too. But I don't know. My gut.
He's the type of guy who would be like, no, I don't want to be a backup here. I'd rather play. Didn't AJ McCarron just do that?
Send me to the San Jose Rough Riders or whatever it is.
Can't believe we're coming on my boy.
Or the
Mike
cross-eyed
Winchell. Mike left it all on the field. All right, left it all on the field.
He did.
Talking about underrated character, Chavo. It's my guy.
Well, how about this? Get in the end zone.
He left that. He left that dub on the field too.
Yeah, he sure did. If I want to hear excuses, I'll talk to prisoners.
All right, let's go to Riot Highs. Hashtag I said, boys, who's playing more next year, Tua or Mike White, Coney?
Tua will play more.
You know what? It's like what goes in my coffee. Well, it used to go in my coffee in the morning, half and half. I think they split reps. I think they split reps to minimize Tua's injury. Isn't it funny how Tua's taking jiu-jitsu now to learn how to not get broken when you get tackled? How in the hell do you play football your whole life, the quarterback position? The guy everybody's trying to tackle, and you don't know how to get tackled yet? You're a grown-ass man. Like, if I did anything for that long and I didn't know the basic part of it, I would feel awful. But have you ever seen anybody get tackled worse than Tua Tagovailoa?
No, but some of those concussions he was taking wasn't even about knowing how to tackle. He's just getting thrown around like a rag doll and his head's hitting the back of the turf. Ben Roethlisberger may not know how to get tackled either, but you're not doing that to him.
No, for sure. I mean, look, physics is physics, but there's still ways. I don't see Kyler Murray get slammed on his head.
That is true, but Kyler Murray is just like a bowling ball. I mean, he's just different.
True,
that was his skill set.
It's not like some of them.
Don't draft a child.
Some aren't even hard tackles, Dave. Like some of them, he just crumbles like peanut brittle. That's what he does. Like the thing, Mike White got killed on a regular, speared on a regular basis.
That's different.
Standing
in there,
but when you get ankle tackled and you just fall like you're a 2x4, I mean, kids, I don't know, quarterbacks from Hawaii just can't say that.
You're talking about peanut brittle. That's my point. Is like, even if he does know how to, let's say he gets exponentially better at knowing how to get tackled this offseason, he's kind of still going to be injury prone, right?
Well, he's already broken. I mean, look, it's like whenever you try and tape something back together. Yeah, it's like when if I had a pencil break in school. Like one time I was taking the SAT with the number 2 pencil, which I don't understand why you don't use the number 1, but that's a story for another day. And my pencil had snapped, so I put it together with tape. It still worked, but it was still broke.
Yeah.
Like every time I'd touch it, like I'd really bear down, it would snap in half. So I feel like, Tua, man. I just can't trust. Why should I trust you to play a whole season?
Well, the whole season, no.
No
But
shot.
More than Mike White, I'll take Tua. I still believe.
How's jiu-jitsu going to help you? Like, he's going to karate.
Well, it's working
Are you
on,
going to
like-
karate kick somebody?
Well, no, that's not jiu-jitsu. No, jiu-jitsu is when you're like holding each other like up top. It's like grappling.
Probably like the stuff you were doing yesterday during Fit It in a Minute. I couldn't really tell.
I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing hard after
Yeah,
that,
dude, you were. That was. It was like you just ran a marathon.
Dude, let's go to Dabo Sweeney's in the chat, guys.
Oh, good.
$5 donation says, who do y'all believe in more, Stroud or Young? OSU's quarterbacks have mostly been busy. That's why I'm worried about Stroud.
Busy, I think.
Busy as in busty.
Yeah, look, I don't blame C.J. Stroud. I think we have a bad habit of this. I don't blame C.J. Stroud for Troy Smith not working out in the NFL. Like, it's circumstantial. Every player is different. Like, you may have some trends because that's how it works in life. Sometimes things happen back to back. But look at Justin Fields right now. Like, and you can say, oh, well, Justin was at Georgia and went. Now he went to Ohio State. Like, oh, you got to give Ohio State credit for that. Like, he's 60 yards away from setting the rushing record, you know, as a young quarterback, and he had no weapons around him. I mean, Zelensky has more weapons than he does right now. But when you look at C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, I don't think you'd be wrong with either. But I do think that Bryce Young is a better overall player than C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, I would say, is more accurate. Not by a ton, but by a little. Nobody anticipates as good as Bryce Young or throws guys open as good as Bryce Young. And in the NFL, it is anticipation and throwing guys open. Guys are not going to be wide open in the NFL consistently. Bryce Young also has more wiggle than C.J. Stroud, which is not about taking off and running necessarily for rushing yardage. It's extending the play from inside the pocket and outside of the pocket. And I also think Bryce Young is a more cerebral football player and has a higher football IQ and a quicker decision efficiency rate, which is a term I've came up with myself. How quick can you get it out to the right guy, a la Patrick Mahomes, modified run game? But at the end of the day, I think Bryce Young is a better quarterback, not by a mile, by feet, but I will take a guy that anticipates the best, has the highest IQ, and throws guys open the best. To me, that is Bryce Young.
I think you're right, and everything I've heard out of Tuscaloosa is Bryce Young's the best quarterback to play at Alabama.
Golden child.
I mean, just
Didn't win a natty. How crazy is that?
That is wild.
Blake Sims won a natty. Jacob Coker won a natty. Bryce Young, who probably is the best quarterback.
But he won a Heisman.
Yeah.
The Tua didn't get a Heisman.
Yeah.
You know, like that. So that means a lot to me. That the cerebral aspect that you're talking about means a lot to me. I think both of them are going to be really good. Bryce got away with a lot of stuff in college he's not going to be able to get away with in the NFL, and I think that he needs to work at that. And as long as he comes in with the mindset that, you know what, there's a lot of things I need to get better at if I want to have success in the NFL, then I think he's going to be really good, and I do think he'll have that mindset.
Yeah, I think you'll see Bryce Young in the pocket a lot more in the NFL than you did in college. I mean, first sign of trouble, Bryce is just making one guy miss, getting on the outside and finding one of his guys that runs 4.3 running down the field, even though that wide receiver core wasn't typically what Bama's is. But I agree with you 100%.
All right, let's go to Matty Ice, 1994, also known as Nighthawk. Was Jeff Okudah one of the biggest letdowns last year? Here are the Lions who just signed Cam Sutton and now are possibly drafting another cornerback.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you can say right now, but there's still time. I mean, the kid has plenty of time. I'm just telling you, and we talked about this yesterday, I am absolutely on the Lions bandwagon. Like, I am absolutely in 2023. I am especially with Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is going to go to the Jets. I am going to pick the Lions to win the NFC North. And I don't think that's crazy. I don't think I'm going to be the only one. A lot of people are going to pick the Vikings. I just don't believe in that defense. If the Lions can add a couple more pieces, and I'm so interested to see what they do with that 6th pick. Will they go with Gonzalez? Will they move it to maybe go get veteran guys on defense that can help them out a little bit earlier and it's not as big of a risk? I don't know, but in the next 5 years, I have not been this excited about something going on close to Detroit since the Tropics finished in 4th.
It's either got to be a cornerback or an edge player with that 6th pick. If you're the Lions, it's got to be. There's no other option.
That or a trade.
Yeah, depends on what you can get.
Yeah, that or a trade.
All right, let's go to Sister Riggs. Ask CNC how many teams are getting ready for next year's QB class. Raiders, Vikings. I don't know if you heard what the Vikings manager came out and said. He's basically in love with
Drake May,
AR-15.
The Vikings side?
Yeah, he said he's a better thrower than Cam Newton. The best kid he's come out and seen.
Well, I don't think the Vikings
But
are
that's
drafting.
this year's class.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not even next year's class. I'd be worried if the Vikings try to move up to get a quarterback.
I don't think I would be surprised if they did that in this draft with what's coming up. I would say probably, I mean, 65% of the league's probably looking forward to the quarterback draft next year. I mean, going through the teams, the Bills have a quarterback. The Dolphins, we'll see. You just signed Mike White as a backup. 2, I don't think is a long-term answer. The Patriots have Mac. The Jets may get Aaron. The Ravens, I think Lamar's going back there. Joey B at the Bengals. Deshaun Watson at the Browns. Kenny Pickett at the Steelers. The Texans are going to take one this year. The Colts are going to take one this year. The Jags got Trevor Lawrence. The Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a move for next year. Like, that's a team. I know Hendon Hooker's in this draft. Some people have been talking about that a little bit with that connection. Broncos, no. Chiefs, no.
Falcons could.
We'll see. You go
run.
through the list. The Packers, we'll see what happens with Jordan Love. I mean, how much do they really believe or love Jordan? So, look, I would say a lot of teams, the Rams and Stafford, how long is that going to go on together? Look, it's interesting right now. I would say the Buccaneers, Kyle Trask, is he going to be the guy? What's kind of the situation there? So I would say close to half the league, but you have back-to-back draft classes that are fantastic at the quarterback position.
I was going to Texas said he wants to know what is the highest seed that will win a game in the tournament.
The highest seed?
NC State's an 11.
That's that. But see, there's typically a 15-2. Again, Drake in Miami, it's hard for me to sit here and not believe in Drake. The more I look at it, a lot of people like College of Charleston over San Diego State. I want to say this about the tournament before we get to 5 big questions. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe. If you donate, we'll ask your question quicker. Blaine's going to go between both the chats, the Daily Wire and the YouTube one. But the more this is my theory. Everybody talks about the 12-5 upsets, right? The 12's going to beat a 5 or something like this. But it's never the ones they talk about. Everybody's talking about College of Charleston beating San Diego State, right? Everybody else is talking about the other 12-5. They're talking about
I like VCU.
They're talking about Oral Roberts beating Duke. Those are the two. I like VCU and Drake.
I do. I like VCU. Drake. I mean, is the Omer kid going to be healthy or not?
Jim Larinaga, the head coach of Miami, said he's either going to play or he's not going to play. We're going to prepare both ways.
Really?
Which to me tells me even if he plays, he's going to be a little bit hurt. Drake is old and they're deep. All right, but my thing about VCU and St. Mary's is this. I watched VCU win their tournament. I watched them beat Dayton. I like Deloach. I like some of the pieces they have. They're very inconsistent shooting, the 3. And I don't trust them from the free throw line. And what St. Mary's is going to do is walk their ass up the court with that basketball, eat the whole shot clock, and VCU is going to want to run. And St. Mary's isn't going to let them run. And they've got that lefty. All right, Logan, I can't remember what his last name is. That is a witch. And then they got the freshman white shooting guard, Alkahi, or I'm trying to remember his first name. It's hard for me to. St. Mary's translates so well to the NCAA tournament because they slow the game down. But when I look at VCU, they're way more athletic. Look, basically, it's the hood versus the Y. Let's be honest. And in basketball, in the tournament, I just feel like that slow down pace can get guys out of their rhythm. But they got old guards. That's one of the hardest games for me to pick, Dave.
What, VCU?
VCU and St. Mary's.
So you like St. Mary's?
I like St. Mary's because they play that slow down style and they hit their free throws. That's the thing. Like, everybody's picking Louisiana Lafayette. Yeah, that's right. I call them that. That's what I call them. You can call them whatever you want. They're picking them to beat Tennessee. They don't shoot free throws well at all. To beat Tennessee, I don't care if they got Ziegler or not. You're going to have to shoot free throws. I know they got that big tree at the 4. But I'm telling you, Tennessee, a lot of people are sleeping on Tennessee because Ziegler's out. They're throwing him into the winds. I would not be shocked if they played Duke, if they got past Lafayette, ended up playing Duke, and that game was a whole hell of a lot closer than what people thought. But speaking of a whole hell of a lot closer, what's closer to you than your clothes, all right, outside of the people you love? And when planning your wedding, you need a suit as unique as you with Indochino. I'm getting married in May, guys.
Yeah, you are.
All right, it's coming. All right, then we're going to France. Not y'all, but me and Redar. And if you go to Indochino.com and use our code BOOSTER, you get 10% off any purchase that's $399 or more. That's Indochino.com. Use our promo code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER. Wedding planning, we're pretty much done, all right? But it's a journey, okay? Now, Reed did most of it. I'm not going to sit here and take credit for a lot of it. But you know what I did? I got my suit game handled with Indochino, and they made it easy. That was one thing I didn't have to worry about. I'm doing the rehearsal dinner. Are we going to have lanterns or lamps? decisions like that. Did not have a problem getting the suit game taken care of. I mean, from ordering different pieces. The customization was what impressed me the most, and I was able to do it online. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, visit a showroom at your wedding. I wanted to do it online. I got it handled. It was very, very easy. So when planning your wedding, get a suit as unique as you with Indochino. So go to Indochino.com. Use our promo code BOOSTER, 10% off, $399 or more. Free entry to bracket challenges, Indochino's fire. We're just giving away just fantastic stuff.
I have this dark green Indochino shirt. Would look great in Paris. It would do so well.
Well, just give it to me then. I'll wear it over there. I'll wear it over there and let you know how it goes.
No. It's too long. It's custom for me.
I've been doing a lot of push-ups and sit-ups and stuff, getting ready for somebody, in case they want to pop off about something American. My thing, why do I have to pay for anything in France?
Don't get in any fights.
You're gonna get.
What do I have to pay for anything
fights,
in France?
man. We want you to come
after
back.
World War II, I should not have to pay for anything.
See, this is why I have to go. Right?
Yeah.
I just have to be around.
That is
Why?
In case you pop
You might
off.
not come back.
In case you pop it off.
You think France is taking me? No.
might end up in a croissant.
Look, I'll be having Macron bring me dinner before we leave there. Let's just put it that way.
Wow.
Soft ass.
Wow.
No, but I shouldn't have to pay for anything in
Goodness.
France. I'll say it to their face. I'm coming. All right, they say they don't put ice in their drinks. What's wrong with y'all? I know you don't do ice, David, but that's my choice. They do it by cutting.
Not in water. Not in water.
Not in water?
No, I just want the water.
But ice is water, though.
Well, when it
frozen.
melts, call me. All right.
Let's get to five
Here we
big
go.
questions.
There we go.
Here we go. What?
I don't know. I thought we were going to go on a 30-minute conversation on how ice is water and water
Let's
is
go
ice.
into five big questions.
Chargers running back Austin Eckler, Blaine's old friend and teammate, requesting to talk to other teams after contract negotiations. Stahl said he wants out of there. Look, this is a Chargers team that already doesn't really have an identity on offense other than Austin Eckler. Question is, will they make the playoffs if Austin Eckler leaves?
No, I don't think they will. And I want to say this. Look, obviously it has to do with contract, right? You want to make them think, oh, well, I'll just leave then. I get that. But I think there's more to this. Deep down, I don't think they believe in Brandon Staley. And I don't either. Don't trust him. Can't win with him. After what happened last year in the playoffs and the year before, I don't trust this dude as far as I can throw him. And if I'm Austin Eckler, I only got a couple good years, at running back. And Austin Eckler is an absolute baller. I don't blame him. Somebody could really use him. The problem is, the good part is, you can kind of choose where you want to go because you're negotiating right now. This isn't you got traded somewhere where you had no control over it and you didn't have a no trade clause. So Austin Eckler does have some leverage here. But if I'm Austin Eckler, I'm looking in that division. All right, the Chiefs, Broncos just added to the offensive line. Looks like that roster's starting to figure it out. I don't think with Brandon Staley, the Chargers doing anything. I don't blame him for wanting to leave. And I feel bad for Justin Herbert that you're stuck with this dumbass coach in Brandon Staley that is one eyelash away from looking like Pete Buttigieg. Neither one of them can keep anything on track, if you know what I'm saying.
Where's your boy going, Blaine?
I think he's going to go to Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
I think he's going to go to the Miami
That would
Dolphins,
be-
and what a fit would that be?
Problem.
What a fit would that be? First of all, you're going to Miami. You're already not in a bad place anyways. Weather-wise, when you go to Miami, it's always sunny. You got Tyreek. You got the Penguin running around. You got a young defense. You just added Jalen Ramsey. I'm telling you, if he goes to Miami, I'm going to go ahead and get a little money. I'm going to put it on that futures bet.
They're loading up.
But okay though, you trust Tua though. Austin Eckler go to Miami. Everybody can go to Miami. Hell, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence go back to Miami and make sure everybody's safe. It doesn't matter if Tua cannot stay healthy. You're not winning a Super Bowl with Mike White. I'm sorry.
Not
all
this
right?
season. But if Tua can't stay healthy this year, you have to move on from him.
You got to get.
This is the last year to run the experiment, right? This is the final year.
Yeah. So when he snaps or falls down like a Jenga tower, then you'll see him up in the
Guys, he's doing jiu-jitsu. He's going to be all right.
Yeah.
He's good now.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't
he's
be surprised to see Austin at the Bears, right? I mean, Bears need a back, or the Broncos. I don't know. I mean, you still got Javonte Williams. At the
Yeah, I don't
Broncos
think the
to
Broncos-
get
This
back.
is assuming he's going to be able to have a say where he goes, right? I mean, what would Miami have to give up to get him? That's the question.
So think about it. You don't have. I think Miami has 4 picks in this draft.
And
Has
your
the least,
first-round
least
pick-
amount of least amount of picks of all.
Your
teams.
first round pick already got suspended
I
for
don't
the
know what
Stephen
you have to
Ross
give up.
situation.
I don't know what you'd have to give up, but it wouldn't be great. I know that. I wouldn't give up any huge names. Maybe you invest in future a little bit, but it all comes back to whether Tua can stay healthy or not. That's your Achilles heel, is Tua. You got to get enough team to win the Super Bowl. You go back to the playoffs, and you remember that team playing against the Bills in the playoffs. Your defense balled in that game.
Yeah, that's why I'm not worried about them only having 4 picks. Your roster's built to win right now outside of the question mark at quarterback. So you wanted to be in this position, and when you get in this position, sometimes you have less picks because that's what it took for you to get the roster where it is now. So I think the Dolphins, outside of quarterback, man, are in a good spot.
But again, that's Joe Mixon, too.
That's going to be the question.
Jason Kelce is returning for the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's huge news right there. As centerpiece at center. We actually have a video of Jason Kelce. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, taking a shot.
Yeah, of some expensive liquor, it looks like. Let's go ahead and play.
Awesome. All right, let's celebrate this right now. Little mezcal, little phosphoro. You know, we got 2 kinds right here.
I've never even
gals.
seen that bottle before. Like, what is
Celebrate.
Which one's this one?
Cone, do you know what that is?
It's mezcal.
This is the panca.
Jeez,
What type of cow is that?
That's mine?
Is that a Mexican cow?
That's Howie Roseman, though, the
We're doing it
GM
by
of the
lap
Eagles.
tape. We're doing it by lap.
Yeah,
And here,
he's definitely not
here's my
broke.
119 pounds. Nah.
See, watch him, though. He gives himself a little pour. He gives Jason Kelce the big pour. He gives himself like a 3/4 pour. Come on, Howie.
Vegas.
Give yourself a man pour.
Let's go.
Take that shot. To the.
There you go. Coming back. Can Philly make
shot
another
like a-
run?
Yeah, what?
That dude on the right took a shot.
Yeah, like that.
What was that?
I don't know. I'm starting to believe less in the Eagles after watching Howie Roseman.
This is the only guy we got out here doing this?
Yeah.
God,
It's like I
first
got
of
some
all,
mezcal,
boys.
which I found in the Shire.
Huge for the Eagles, though.
Can they run it back?
I mean, you're getting Kelce back and Lane Johnson back.
Do you see Lane Johnson, like how much he eats a day and what he does to keep himself under 30% body fat? Bro, it's insane. This dude's insane. He's under 30%, but has a 6-pack. Offensive lineman. All right, he's over, 300 pounds? With a 6-pack. Like,
Yeah.
dude said he eats like an insane amount of calories a day. And is just doing push-ups and lifting weights and watching Fox News.
32 years old. 32 years old, going to come back and play with Lane Johnson. That's the only thing I was worried about with the Eagles.
You know,
Was up front. I mean, you have everywhere else you need. BG's coming back. Have we heard anything on Fletcher Cox?
I haven't seen
If Fletcher comes back, if you can keep that core, let's remember what mountain wasn't out there last year either. That's Jordan Davis.
Sure.
All right, so you got him just waiting in the wings. Nakobe Dean just waiting in the wings. You're probably going to take another Georgia player in this draft.
Nolan Smith,
if
if
you're
they get
smart.
him.
Nolan Smith,
Yeah.
a Ringo, whatever you want to do, if it's a DB or whatever it is. Jalen Hurts getting better. I was just worried about up front with the Eagles. I'm not worried about anything else. That defense obviously fell apart against the Chiefs, which was surprising, but what defense doesn't fall apart against the Chiefs?
I mean, look, you bring that offensive line back, and you know, we already know the defense is going to be good with what they have returning. Eagles would not be shocked if you saw the Eagles be in the exact same position they were last year, next year.
49ers signed defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. You had some thoughts on this yesterday.
Dog, how are you supposed to block these guys?
Like, it's incredible what they've built.
How are you supposed to block these guys? Honestly, you can. It's like playing a team where in basketball where everybody can shoot a 3. Everybody can shoot a 3 like efficiently. You can't double anybody. Who you gonna double? I'm gonna double you and leave him open. Like how do you go about? And it's not just people instantly think pass rush with defensive linemen, and I get that. I understand. They've got everything. They've got the Ferraris. They've got the Hummers. They've got everything you can possibly imagine in that front with Fred Warner at Mike. How the hell are you supposed to run the ball against these guys outside of just maybe the Eagles' offensive line? Like, what offensive lines going up are going to go up against the San Francisco 49ers? And you look at it and you go, yep, the Niners are at a disadvantage. Nobody. This game is won and lost up front. I don't care what system you run. If it's air raid, triple option, spread, bread, or redhead, it doesn't matter. You're either good up front or you're going to lose. Those are the two things. And the Niners, I know they're losing a couple offensive linemen, Blaine, but that defensive line, whoo, this is rated NC 17 for we know 17 ways to rip your arms and legs off when the ball's snapped.
Surprise, surprise, the 49ers are going to be good on defense. I mean, is this huge news? I'm more worried about them losing 2 guys up front on the offensive line. That's what I'm worried about. If they can fix that in free agency, the Niners will be just as good as they were last year. You got to keep your quarterback healthy. At the end of the day, that's what's going to take you to the Super Bowl, to the promised land. You got to get enough defense, especially that front 7. You got a couple weak pieces in the secondary. I think you could get a guy in free agent in the corner. So they need right now needs. If I'm the 49ers, it's up front and a couple DBs.
Love it. All right, college basketball.
Yes.
Ole Miss hiring Chris Beard. What are your thoughts here?
I think it's a win-win for both sides. Look, Chris Beard is not going to win Man of the Year. Do I think Chris Beard is a great person? I do not. But Chris Beard was not convicted of a crime, and the person recanted. You can say whatever you want about domestic violence, and it's awful. And people do take back what they said because they're scared, and I get that. But if we start the slippery slope of, well, you didn't get convicted, but we're going to treat you like you're convicted, then we're in trouble. That's one of the reasons our society is able to function like it is, because you are, at least a little bit these days, innocent until proven guilty. Social media and the media in general is killing that. Somebody on social media, when I said this was a win-win, said, oh, well, O.J. Simpson didn't get convicted. Why can't he do any of this stuff? Well, O.J. Simpson was on trial for murder, number one. That's a little bit different than what went on with Chris Beard. They're both awful, but there's levels to the stuff. Now, O.J. didn't get convicted, but there is nuance to this argument. I don't think if Chris Beard was accused of murder that he would have been hired by Ole Miss, even if he was found innocent. You can think whatever you want about it, but comparing that situation to O.J. Simpson or any murder trial is just asinine and apples and oranges. So to the people on Twitter yesterday, because I said I don't want to hear from Ole Miss fans anymore about morality when it comes to Hugh Freeze going to Auburn. Because all I heard when I was talking about Hugh Freeze going to Auburn was, he's a terrible person. Ole Miss isn't going to let that terrible guy come back here. And you go hire Chris Beard, who isn't exactly Santa Claus, all right, or Mr. Rogers. So I don't want to hear anything else from Ole Miss fans. You now have Lane Kiffin and Chris Beard.
Yeah, that was already gone
so,
when you had Lane Kiffin.
Yeah,
he was running around Tuscaloosa saying he was Joey Freshwater.
There's no other way in hell that Ole Miss would ever be able to have Chris Beard as their head coach unless it was this situation. And Chris Beard being able to not only get back in quickly, but get back in quickly in one of the top two conferences right now in college basketball is huge for him down the road trying to put this in the rearview mirror. Because make no mistake, if Ole Miss comes out and kicks ass next year, this whole narrative is going to flip. The whole narrative is going to flip. All of a sudden, Chris Beard, it's going to be a rise of the phoenix, rags to riches story. I fixed myself. Hey, there's a bird. If I'm a bird, you're a bird type situation. So for Ole Miss and an SEC that is loaded with unbelievable coaches, I can make the argument the SEC has better coaches than any other conference in college basketball right now. You just added another monster to the SEC and Chris Beard. Ole Miss is now instantly relevant.
Well, I get Ole Miss wants to be great at basketball, but we're not even, 60 days, 90 days removed from this guy's fiance basically calling the police saying that he strangled me. I understand that he wasn't convicted, but how's this guy supposed to go in the living room of 16 to 17-year-old kids and say, hey, tell their parents, come trust me, send your kids to play college basketball for me. And this is a situation, we were just talking about this with Brandon Miller at Alabama. Well, he wasn't convicted either. You were saying he should be suspended from Alabama.
Yeah, because that was murder.
Look, if you're Bruce Pearl at Auburn or John Calipari at Kentucky or Buzz Williams at Texas A&M, if you can't recruit against these guys in the SEC who have this baggage coming in, like something's going to be wrong in the next couple years.
Yeah, and look, that's something he's going to have to deal with in the living room, and we'll see how he handles it. I mean, other guys have handled it in different ways. It's the same thing with Juwan Howard. How are you supposed to go in their living room and say, I'm going to do what's right by your son when I'm out here slapping the other coach?
It's not a good look.
The end of the game.
And there clearly are no more standards.
Yeah. Oh, no. There is.
With that situation with Juwan Howard, when you're slapping another coach on live television, and he basically returned 2 weeks later?
Yeah.
To coach in a game.
I mean,
how is this stuff acceptable?
I think it's just a society we live in nowadays. I mean, it's such a rat race, and people they want to win. I don't know another way to put it. They want to win.
But you're not winning at life.
Again,
you're not winning at life.
But
who cares if your basketball team does well?
People say, well,
you
that's
walk out
what
in the
pays the
streets
bills.
and everything is in your infrastructure is collapsing. And you can't even.
And again, from a morality standpoint, I agree.
Yeah, society's awesome.
We talk about
society's great.
This concept of college not being dirty. They don't care if you're winning at life. They don't care if you're a good person. They want you to win games. They want you to win championships. They don't care about any of the other stuff. This. We've had this conversation multiple times. We don't care who you are, what you've done, this or that. We'll forgive if you win.
Well, the old saying is true. Winning cures everything. No, unfortunately, it's true.
I know, but that's my point is I don't know if it does. We're simultaneously saying a bunch of different things like, man, we look around our society right now and it's crumbling. We got guys playing in women's sports and we can't trust our politicians. That is a side effect of us behaving like this. We are society. We can't just blame the rest of society. We're the people.
Well, it's priorities. It's priorities. I think people in that business, in the business world, their priority is making money over everything else. If You know, if that wasn't the case, then you wouldn't have the mafia and things like that. I mean, people want money. At the end of the day, people want money because they want things. We live in a materialistic society, and that isn't a great thing. That's probably why we have most of the problems we do, but I don't know how you stop that. It's like a human condition.
No, I get it. And the flip side of that is everybody loves a great comeback story. People want to be forgiving after you've paid your dues. Somebody shouldn't be punished, you know, for the rest of their life for something that wasn't as, you know, egregious as like what you were talking about, murder or you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just a tricky balance. On the college basketball front, though, Georgia Tech hired Damon Stoudemire.
Great hire.
I mean, when I was growing up, Georgia Tech was elite at basketball. Not just pretty good. They were a really good basketball school. Are they going to return to that?
I think they got a chance to. I think it's a whole hell of a lot easier to win in basketball at Georgia Tech than it is in football.
Yeah.
A whole hell of a lot easier, especially with what George is doing. Damon Stoudemire, people forget he was at Pacific, did a pretty good job there. Then he went with Ime Udoka up to the Celtics. I think he wanted to get back in college, kind of get back in that vibe. I think it is a fantastic hire for Georgia Tech, and I'm rooting for Damon Stoudemire. I hope they do a good job because Georgia, it's always fun. I want as many good teams as possible. Then you get years like this in the tournament where you have all this parity. And even though I'm having to sit here and you know, pray to Star-Lord to figure out what to do with some of these 8-9 games, I do like the parity. I do. I like looking at a Princeton and saying, you know what? They could give Arizona a run for their money. All right, again, I want more good teams because that leads to more good games. So we got Tim Brando coming on here very shortly. Remember, we are releasing our bracket challenge today. There is a link in the description and also a link to the terms and condition in the description. You can win $1,000. It's free to enter. We got a little tournament talk. I want to ask Timmy B some of our tournament talk questions.
Yeah.
Like the first, he's about to get in here in a second. But let's go ahead and get to the ones we talked about yesterday before Timmy B gets in here, the first one seed to lose and things like that.
Okay, what do you guys think?
Man, I went back and forth on this, guys. And the question is, which one seed will lose first? So you've got Purdue, you've got Kansas, you've got Bama, and you've got Houston. Texas A&M CC, I think, is going to win tonight. I think they're going to play Alabama, and I think they can play them a little bit closer than what people think. But I don't see Alabama losing in the first 2 rounds. I don't think they're going to really get super challenged until that Sweet 16 game because you may run into San Diego State or Virginia that slows the game down. My team to lose first is Houston. And I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that because I picked him to win. That was before the Marcus Sasser injury.
Marcus Sasser.
He's their best player.
Yeah.
He's the American Conference Player of the Year. He's banged up. I think he's going to try and go. I watched Shed and Jarris Walker try and do it by themselves. They're just not the same team. I would not be surprised if Houston does not make it to the Sweet 16 because they're going to run into either Iowa, who can get really, really hot from 3, or Auburn, who is playing in Birmingham. And Kelvin Sampson was not happy about that at all. So give me Houston. I know I picked him this before the injury. I'm going to have to go against it now. I think they're the first one out.
It's not the same situation with Miami where Omier is one of their better players and is a starter. I mean, you're talking about Marcus Sasser is the best player, the leading scorer, the conference player of the year for Houston, and it's just terrible timing right now. It sounds like a groin injury, so I don't know. Like I can't imagine you're just going to bounce back from that.
You've had a groin, man. A groin's like a high ankle. You don't just come back from that super quick.
But if he does return and he's healthy, then I would probably say Purdue.
Yeah.
And I really hate that because Purdue was one of my horses for this year.
You got Duke beating them? Do you have Duke beating them?
Look, man. You got Duke, Memphis, Florida Atlantic. You could potentially match up with Tennessee. None of those are fun.
Filipowski versus Zach Edey.
None of those are fun.
Sign me up for Filipowski versus Zach Edey 10 out of 10 times.
And here's the thing. As great as Zach Edey is, walking double-double, might be player of the year, all that. In 4 of their 5 losses for Purdue this year, he had double-doubles still. Yeah. He had 33 and 18. 33 and 18 against one of the losses against Indiana, and they still lost. That's my thing. I don't know if Purdue shoots it well enough from the outside if Zach Edey's having a bad game, or even if he's having a good game but perhaps gets in a little bit of foul trouble, something like that. The East region is just so loaded, I'm worried that Purdue can't run that gauntlet.
Well, if Purdue doesn't
shoot well.
If they don't shoot well, they're going to lose. But they're going to get open shots. Can Morton hit? Can Gillis hit? Can Braden Smith hit? Brandon Newman's been hitting, and Jenkins, I believe his name, the guy with the headband, has been splashing in the tournament. Blaine, real quick, here's for you.
Kansas.
Brandon on here. Really?
Kansas.
Okay.
I think if you shut down Jalen Wilson, you run into an Arkansas team, an Eric Musselman team. Let's not sit here and act like Arkansas doesn't have the athletes to run with Kansas.
They do.
Because they do. I mean, Nick Smith Jr., lottery pick. So if they run into Arkansas and Arkansas's hot and shooting well, and somewhat getting going from the outside and shut down Jalen Wilson, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep. Let's go ahead and bring in one of our favorite guests, the Hall of Famer himself. Watched him covering the Big East. He's got me believing in Marquette a little bit. Just a little bit. Don't believe in Creighton, but believe in Marquette, not Providence. Our buddy from Fox Sports, Tim Brando, the Hall of Famer. Timmy B, what's up, baby?
I'm great, fellas. It's that time of year. And when I'm done with you guys, I'm going to have another Java, a little more Joe, and then I'm teeing it up at about 9 a.m. this morning. And might even be wearing shorts. Might even have the stems out for the sun to see.
No, Timmy B. Blaine, listen. This is who my brother is, okay? He wants there to be fighting allowed in all sports, like in hockey. He wants fighting in basketball. But he doesn't like that the Live Tour lets the golfers wear shorts. What's wrong with this?
I just don't like seeing professional golfers. I don't want to see your knees.
There you go.
All right.
Like, that's where you draw the line, though?
I didn't say all sports. All right. I don't think there should be fighting and golfing. All right. I feel like you should be able to talk a little bit more crap. I'll be fine with it. They do that in the Live Tour. But I just don't want to see your knees. All right. It doesn't feel right.
Weird thing with knees and ankles. I'm trying to remember if there's some trauma.
Well, here's the deal. If you get more sun, maybe you'd feel differently. You just need some sun.
That's true. Wow. Well, the funny part is his real name's Tanner.
I'm covering my ankles
figure it
now.
out.
Look, I'm pretty tan. I'm not
all right. Timmy B, I do
as announcers do. Just spray tan.
There you go. There you go. Look, we're all a little orange, right? But Timmy B, I want to start off. I want to ask you before we get into the tournament, your thoughts on two things: Chris Beard getting the job at Ole Miss and Will Wade getting the job at McNeese State.
I have no problem with either one.
Yeah, me either.
I really don't. First off, the charges were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, if I'm the athletic director, if I'm Keith Carter, and by the way, I've known him, called his games when he was at Ole Miss. Pretty good player himself, by the way. He and Michael White were on the same team when he was playing the point guard position. Back in the day, I think Rod Barnes was the coach.
Rod Barnes, I remember Rod Barnes.
Had taken over for Rob Evans. Both those guys did great jobs, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, just going to the tournament at that time for Ole Miss was a really big deal. And they got to the second round one year. I think it was in the 2000 season when Michigan State won it all. And they got to the second round to play against them. I think Beard will take Ole Miss to tremendous heights. And the fact that it was, let's face it. I realize there's greater scrutiny today than there was years ago. I look back at what happened at Wimp Sanderson at Alabama. You guys may be too young to remember that.
I know a little bit about what you're talking about. Can you tell our audience that?
Well, they ran him out on a rumor. It was just a rumor. The athletic director at the time simply wanted him out. And there was never any proof that anything really did happen. It was alleged. It was alleged by his secretary, who, by the way, went on to marry C.M. Newton. Ironically enough, the secretary. Yeah, that actually happened. But I was talking to Wimp yesterday a little bit, and I said, "Man, it is a little different now than it was in your day. Back in those days, simple allegations without any proof whatsoever, and if you didn't have the AD support, you were gone." I think in many ways, Wimp had dared to be a greater presence from a national standpoint at that time than Alabama football. You got to remember they were struggling during that period, post Gene Stallings. Mm-hmm. They struggled. And I think that the push and pull a lot of times between the, quote, football people, and his athletic director happened to be a real football guy, not a bad guy, but someone that really didn't care for Wimp too much. And Wimp didn't always endear himself either. But my point here is a lot of times we make so much in the media today, since the invention of these babies, mm-hmm. and the scrutiny is greater. But we don't know what happened, between the fiance and the coach at Texas. We don't. Chris Beard, he's a difference maker. If you don't know that Chris Beard is one of the top tier coaches, then you've been, I don't know, in a closet somewhere. He took Texas Tech to within an eyelash of a national championship. And, Ole Miss has got a chance to get him. You gobble him up. I think it's a tremendous hire. As for Will Wade, look, the problem for Will from a public relations standpoint is there only because of this FBI investigation, which turned out to be bogus. I mean, they got nothing done there. Sean Miller's now coaching a Xavier team that's a 3 seed. Bill Self is fine and dandy, thank you. I don't think there are any issues there. That FBI investigation was going to uncover all kinds of things. Turned out they were no better than the NCAA investigative team.
I love it.
I'm all for Will Wade getting another chance. The problem for Will is he was on tape, and I think that scarred him from a PR standpoint. But he certainly deserves a chance to coach again. I don't think there's any question. It's ironic that it's down the road at McNeese State, but he'll do well there in a couple of years. Probably win that league title a time or two because he'll get players, and then ultimately he'll bounce back.
Yeah, it seems like the FBI just really can't figure anything out these days, and typically they're the ones causing the problems. But I do want to move on to the tournament, Timmy B. We were just talking. What do you think, in your opinion, between Alabama, Houston, Purdue, and Kansas, which is the first 1 seed that you think will be taken out of the tournament?
Well, I've got both Purdue out in the Sweet 16. I overheard you guys talking about Duke. The problem isn't just Filipowski. It's that they can run 2 or 3 of him. Okay, at Zach Edey. Multiple big guys. And they play fast. They play really quick. And now, they're able to press. If you saw the end of the game, end of that game, those young guards, those freshman guards, they can shoot it. They can fill it up when they're right, Lawyer and those other guys. But they run into trouble when they get pressure. Full court, 2-2-1 zone pressure causes them trouble. So I think they're in trouble. And I hate to say that.
Yeah.
No one wants Matt Painter to get to a Final Four any more than me. Love the guy. I mean, I do. He has a chance along with Izzo to be the banner carrier, for college basketball. But he's the best coach that hasn't been to a Final Four just yet. But I'm with you on Duke and Purdue. And I also think, the other team that I think is in trouble that is Alabama. And I'm going to tell you why. Not in the first round. Okay, you're not going to lose in Birmingham. But they better root hard against Virginia, losing before they can get to the next round. Virginia is going to be a real problem. No one in the SEC, fellas, plays the way Virginia plays. And Tony Bennett and those guys, they can frustrate the hell out of you. And I think that the other factor for me with Alabama is the distraction is going to amp up. From round to round to round, it's going to amp up. Alabama, if we were playing best 3 out of 5 in every region, would win probably in straight games.
Yeah.
But it is one and done, and I think Virginia potentially is a really bad matchup. And if they happen to get by that game, Alabama is going to meet Arizona ultimately, and they got all kinds of answers. So if Virginia doesn't take them out, and my bracket says that they will, Arizona will take them out in the Elite Eight.
Yep, 2 things really quick, Coney. One, I've watched Purdue all year. They haven't been able to break the press the whole year. If I'm the 16 seed playing Purdue, I'm pressing your ass for 40 minutes. It's good. I don't care if we've pressed the whole year. We're going to press you. Number 2, Virginia and San Diego State right there by Alabama. They both play very similar. They're both athletic enough and big enough. So those are 2 to watch out for early for Bama. I agree with you, Timmy B.
Well, can I give you the problem for San Diego State is I think they're going to run into a Charleston team that is a problem. Now, you talk about teams that are off the beaten path. You know how I feel about the flies in the ointment in college football. Well, there are plenty of flies in the ointment with regard to the 68-team field. And one of those teams, look, there are some 13-4s and 14-3s that I don't see it. I just don't see it. But when I look at Charleston, that is a team that in a 12-5 is just dynamite. And they're not much different than San Diego State. They will be a team to keep an eye on. Louisiana's going to clip Tennessee's wings too. Bob Marlin's a hell of a coach. He's got guys that can fill it up. They get up and down the floor. And the Volunteers have had some injuries now that have cropped up on them. And I think from an offensive standpoint, Rick's in some trouble. Now, you know his defense is good. It's forever been the mantra of his teams. But Louisiana is a bad matchup. The Raging Cajuns, ooh la la, as we like to call them here in Louisiana. That's a team to keep an eye on. And over on the other side of the bracket, as I'm looking at matchups, Drake is a team that could surprise big time. If you've not seen the Drake Bulldogs play, they are really, really good. And you might recall a few years ago, we were in Tampa. We had all of the teams in dark jerseys. All of the higher seeds won. Drake lost on a buzzer beater to Western Kentucky that year. Western Kentucky went on to the Sweet 16 and really challenged UCLA, moving to the Final Four in the round of 16. I like Drake. This is a team to keep a big-time eye on, maybe to go all the way through and to the 16. But Xavier is a team that's going to be a problem potentially for Houston on that side. I've got Sean Miller's team a 3 seed moving on, and Kentucky's in trouble. Nothing would make Bryce Hopkins any happier, the Kentucky transfer, than to load up. He finished second in the voting for Player of the Year in the Big East. Could not get off the bench at Kentucky. As badly as Oscar Tshiebwe wants it, I think Providence is a tough matchup. Now, their defense has let them down a little bit the late stages of the season, but don't be fooled by that. They ran into a really tough end of their schedule by having to play on the road at really difficult places late in the year, and they dropped a few games, fell down off the 8-9 line to the 11 line, and I think that's going to be a game that's going to be wild. A lot of fun to watch, Providence and Kentucky in a 6-11 game. I've got Providence marching on. I do.
Interesting. All right, Timmy B, you were talking about Drake in the Midwest region, so let's stay there quickly. Houston is the 1 seed and Miami is the 5 seed. 2 teams that I thought throughout most of the year could be Final Four teams. Unfortunately, they both get put in the same quadrant, and now both are dealing with injuries. You got Houston's best player, Marcus Sasser, we were talking about, banged up with a groin injury, and then Omier for Miami. We don't know if he's going to be able to go, and it certainly sounds like he's not going to be 100% if he does go. That's the 5-12 matchup right there at the beginning with Drake. So are you saying that Drake upsets Miami? And if so, how far can Houston go if Sasser's not 100%?
Yeah, I think Drake is going to be able to get possibly to that Indiana game, and they could threaten Indiana. I mean, they're that good. If I look at Miami and Drake in the first round, and I'm telling you now, I do think Drake's going to beat them. That's the problem. They lost one of their best players.
Yeah,
and you have to take that into account when you look at these teams and these matchups. I certainly did with UCLA. I would have had UCLA coming out of their region, but they lost Jalen Clark, who's one of their top players, probably the most versatile guy that they have on their team. So Kansas, that's the region that I thought looked to be the easiest, and I love the idea of UCLA. But losing that one player on a team that's not terribly deep can be problematic. Now, I would not have kept Houston in my Final Four if I had thought that Sasser was not going to be able to bounce back. I've talked to my moles in Houston. I'm told he's going to be okay.
Okay. You feel good about it, Timmy B. You feel good about it.
I do.
You put my bracket on it. I put my bracket on it. I feel good about it. All right. Timmy B. Source.
All right.
You got someone to blame it on.
No. Yeah, good. I got somebody to blame it on. Thank you, Tim. David, please continue with your question.
Someone to blame it on now, for sure.
All right. So you mentioned
how many brackets I've blown up lately?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned UCLA. That's where I wanted to go next. I want to talk about these 4-2 seeds. Texas conference champ, Arizona conference champ, beat UCLA in that conference tournament, and then Marquette conference champ. Which of these 2 seeds are you really believing in right now?
Zona. I got them winning the whole thing.
Wow.
I like Arizona to win the whole thing. My Final Four is Arizona, Marquette, Houston, and Kansas. Okay. Marquette made a huge believer out of me.
Yeah, shock
when I saw them at the Big East tournament. You know, they're a relatively small team. Iguodaro, they list him at 6'9". He's more like 6'8". They're relatively small, but their wings are really good. They run the floor beautifully, and I'm telling you, Tyler Kolek is the best. And when you watch him play,
the lefty.
Now again, I'm going well beyond your days, fellas. But just look up Billy the Kid Donovan when he played at Providence. Now, he was smaller, not nearly as athletic, but he had the hair, and you watch him on the floor, and you're going, he just blew by that guy. Did you see what he just did? He is the most underpublicized great player in college basketball. Even though he's the player of the year in the Big East where all the media meccas are, he's just such a difference maker. And when they get the kid Jones playing well with him and he's knocking down some shots, it just makes the game so much easier for them. And Shaka's smart. That little blip on the radar screen at Texas was just that, a blip. They should have given him more time. They shouldn't have run him out the way he did. But at Texas, if it doesn't go well, that's what happens in both football and basketball. Shaka's got these guys believing, and their unity is really incredible. They will get pushed. I mean, it won't be easy for them, coming through that bracket because it is loaded in the East. But I think the familiarity and also where they get to play and the recent success at Madison Square Garden, which is where their regional finals will be, is going to be a real advantage for them.
All right, Timmy, Justin Decker wants to know, how will his Auburn Tigers do in the NCAA tournament?
Wrong team. Iowa can fill it up. Wrong team. Murray is an incredible player. What happened to Iowa last year? I had them going to the Final Four, and they couldn't hit the ocean.
They screwed me too. Richmond beat them, didn't they?
The Iron was downright rude that day. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but it's true. When you play during the regular season, you play with the balls that are with the home team, and you play with in the tournament, you play with the same balls, same basketballs that you play. When you go into the NCAA tournament, the NCAA has a deal with obviously everybody. So the official NCAA tournament ball is this. Well, those balls sometimes are slippery, and they also have way too much bounce to them. It's sort of like going to the state fair and trying to hit those 3 free throws so you can get the big dog for the little lady.
Ball's huge, the rim's little.
The rim's a little, and you're like, wait a minute, why am I paying like $2 and I got to hit 3 shots with this thing?
Yeah,
that happened to Iowa in that game, and I talked to Fran McCaffrey about it at the start of the year when I had Iowa. And he mentioned that to me. Now, his sons can shoot the lights out, as you know. And he was like, Timmy, I said, I had no idea that you guys weren't getting to use the balls that you were comfortable with. And this is true for all the teams. Auburn can win the game. I'm not saying they can't. But the pressure on them to win because of where the games are is immense. And I just see problems for them offensively. As good as they are defensively, they go through massive.
You can't shoot.
They go through massive droughts, and you do that against Iowa, they'll shoot you out of the game because they've got so many answers. Keegan Murray's brother Chris is a great talent. The McCaffrey kid can shoot the lights out. Auburn's got to turn it into a frenetic game, junk it up, muck it up. Bruce Pearl is great at that. He's done it in the past. He's a great tournament coach. McCaffrey, as a coach, as good as he is as a coach, has never been past the second round.
That's
but you know
crazy.
What the problem has been? If you know what the problem is, fellas? If you look at a team like Iowa last year, look at a team like Purdue this year, that one day playing on Sunday, and I know it means a lot to the Big Ten to be the game preceding Selection Sunday, huge ratings, everybody's watching ball at that point. But having to play Sunday, late in the afternoon, and hustle in to watch the selection show, that's one day of rest and practice. If you get sent to the Thursday, Saturday, as opposed to the Friday, Sunday, that's what happened to Iowa last year. They got sent to a Thursday, Saturday. That means, you're leaving on Tuesday, okay? Looking at tape, and you're practicing Monday, and you're leaving on Tuesday. And I think a lot of times the Big Ten suffers from playing their conference championship late in the day on Sunday before the selection show.
Well, nobody hurt my bracket more last year than Virginia Tech losing in the first round and Iowa losing in the first round. Both teams that won their conference
It blew me up.
Yeah, absolutely.
That blew me up too.
I was like 6-0 starting the day before Iowa lost to Richmond. You get to 4-0 and you start looking around.
Yeah,
like hey,
okay.
Maybe this is the year. I got to 6-0. I'm starting to send that text, and then all of a sudden, Richmond. I mean, literally, Keegan Murray couldn't hit water if he fell out of the helicopter in the ocean last year. And his brother Chris is good, not as good as Keegan.
Yeah.
Keegan's balling in the NBA.
Yeah.
I will say the one advantage Auburn does have, Janai Broome down low. Iowa, they've got some taller guards, but they don't have a post presence that can really scare you. But Timmy B,
Real
it's
quick.
all. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, Timmy, Tyler Jarvis with a $5 donation wants you to know, Timmy B, you are one of the reasons I almost flunked out of college. I would skip class on the regular to listen to your show. You, sir, are a legend.
Yes.
Well, that's very nice. By the way, fellas, I do want to get a little mention in for Fritz Mitchell, the director of the 30 for 30 ESPN film series, the Southern Hoops documentary.
Man, I gotta watch that. I want to be able to sit down and binge watch it. I can't watch one episode then wait and do all.
Right. It's a good time to do it when you're in the tournament season. So in between games, just to get you more motivated, dissecting both the women's game as well as the men's game from really the beginning of the sport at the collegiate level to now. Bruce Pearl was all over it last night. So was Dale Brown. I hope the governor of the state of Louisiana, all right, and Mary Werner, okay, and everyone on the board of supervisors that looked so foolish takes a look at the segment on Coach Brown last night. Yeah. We know what we saw on January 4th of 2022, and we're not going to ever unsee it. And not only the impact Dale had on basketball alone at LSU, but the impact he had on the NCAA. He recommended 40 changes. He wrote them trust me, all of us that knew Dale know we've gotten long emails. He sent 40 changes that he believed for player rights needed to be fixed and fixed quickly. Of those 40, 33 have been enacted since he stopped coaching in 97. He was a forerunner. He was way ahead of his time when it came to player rights. So much so that he alienated himself from a lot of other coaches that didn't like him talking about such things at the time. But you need to watch that. Those guys did a hell of a job.
We definitely, I'm definitely going to.
You know what? Also, Timmy B, we had a caller a couple of weeks ago, Chuck, called in, and he was telling a funny story about Timmy B on an airplane. Maybe something about Gilligan. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? There it is.
Oh, yeah. What did you do? What did you do?
That is a great story. It is. It's in the 80s. Walt Hazzard was coaching UCLA. I was living in Bristol at the time. Our crew flew out to do the USC-UCLA game, which was going to be for the regular season. And at that time, they didn't have a Pac-12 or Pac-8 tournament. And I was going out to call the game with Dickie V. And when the game was over, you know, I'm just flying in a car to LAX to get on a red eye, you know, to fly back to Connecticut through Chicago. I'm on the plane, and let's just say it was cocktail hour.
Yeah,
all right? It was a cocktail hour. And in those days, flight attendants would actually serve up whatever you wanted while you're still on the ground, particularly on a red eye. Right, really? So they wanted you asleep, so they wouldn't have to serve you when you got in the air. So I'm in the aisle seat, first class, and not because they gave me first class seating at ESPN back then, because I'd already earned enough miles.
There you go.
Up, all right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm sitting on the aisle seat, and here comes some of the crew members by. Now I'm wearing a blue blazer, little ESPN logo back in the old days, and people are walking by, and most people, even in California, didn't know what ESPN was.
Yeah.
You know, they thought it was like for hemorrhoids or something.
I thought it was when you could read other people's minds.
Right. so people are kind of walking by in the aisle. I'm sitting like 2B, and all of a sudden, this guy in a trench coat, really disheveled, sits down in 2E, I guess, across the way. And he immediately gets a Cavazier. And he follows that up with another Cavazier, and he's knocking it down quick. I mean, the stewardess could not get through quick. And so we move forward about another 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm having a little, I think my drink of choice back then was blackjack and Coke. I was still young, right?
Nice.
So we're rolling along, and some of our crew members are stopping by going, "Great job, Timmy B. Great job, Timmy B." Hey, and I would be like, "Hey, you guys were great too. Thanks for all the shots. UCLA had won a close game." So all of a sudden, this guy And I knew who he was as he turned to me. I just knew. And he said, well, these people all know you. Who the hell are you? I'm still a young guy. I'm probably 30, 31 years old at the time, something like that. This is about 87 or 88, right in there. And I said, I'm Tim Brando from ESPN. How are you? And he said, I'm all right. I'm blanking Gilligan.
Gilligan.
I am blanking Gilligan. So I just, I'm like hitting the floor. I'm laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And he said, what do you do? I said, I was calling the UCLA USC game tonight, and I'm flying back to Connecticut. And he said, I'm going to a blanking shopping center in Carolina tomorrow.
We need Timmy B's story hour. Like once a week on here.
One of those early brushes with celebrity that I had in the 80s.
There you go,
the
man.
uncomplicated 80s.
Yeah, Eating Gilligan, man.
Yeah, you love it. You love it. Timmy B,
I'm
it's
blanking Gilligan.
man. Well, it's always so fun to have you on here, my friend. I really appreciate you coming on. Hell of a year calling the games, man. I watched as much as I could. You guys absolutely killed it again, and looking forward to the seasons keep rolling over and rolling over and rolling over. But as usual, just great stuff.
Thank you, fellas. Great being with you, Jake.
Yeah, hey, hit him straight, man. Hit him straight. Good luck.
I will.
All
Cheers.
right. Tim Brando, one of our favorites.
Fantastic.
Talk to that dude for an hour. All right, I'm going to get into reaction. Booster Club real quick, then reactions.
$10 donation from Corey. What's up, Corey? Wants to know, what about the Chargers trading Eckler with a team up ahead of them for some picks and drafting Bijan Robinson?
Which team?
I'm talking about the Chargers.
Chargers.
I mean, look, if you want to tell me to trade, if there's any guarantee in this draft, in my opinion, it's Bijan Robinson being a stud. I mean, do you guys think I'm crazy?
No.
Crazy,
I think it's the safest bet in the draft.
Bijan Robinson, I don't think you're crazy. It's just they already have a great running back. And they still, you're talking about the Chargers, right? Yeah. I mean, okay, you go get another great running back. Is that going to make them a lot better?
Well, I'm talking about trading to Austin. I mean, again,
But they have other problems.
my biggest thing, if Austin Eckler doesn't want to be there, though, if it's a legitimate problem, don't you think you might as well just move him? Like, or is it going to, continue to maybe create a problem? There's a little bit of a doubt with Staley being there anyway, like we talked about earlier. I don't know. I would always like to keep the piece that knows the offense and the terminology and has actually played together and isn't a rookie. But if he was going to leave, I mean, I think Bijan would be a guy, if you're going to take a young guy, that's about the safest bet there is. All right, any more donos?
Nope.
All right, let's get into reactions. Okay, I told you guys, we talked about it earlier in the week, maybe the end of last week. All right, you've heard about these new leagues, right? The XFL, the USFL. Hell, I just found out about disc golf about a year ago, but there is a new league that is in a sport that is taking the world by storm. Blaine, David, Booster Club, I give you combat juggling. Let's go ahead and play the clip.
Combat juggling.
Combat juggling.
What does that even mean?
Let's go ahead. Let's run it. Look at them. All right, they're juggling while they're running and literally hitting each other and trying to knock the juggling pins, whatever you call them, out of each other's hands. Look at this. You want to talk about talent? You think you're talented? Why don't you try and juggle and beat somebody up?
Yeah, see, I wouldn't even try to juggle. I'm just running around hitting people in the face.
Do I know the rules? No. Do I care?
Know the rules?
No. Does it look like there's rules? Not a chance. If you're on audio right now, you need to look at this. Combat juggling. It is the sport that is taking the globe by storm right now.
This is not taking.
It is now. It is right now.
What's the object? He just hit that out of his hand.
Look, you stripped.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
What is the object of the goal?
Well, what I think is you have to juggle from inside both those lines, okay, like to the end zone. All right, and you have like defenders that are juggling that can knock your pins over. That's what it looks like to me. You're trying to get into the end zone. Now, that could be 100% wrong, but I don't care because it's combat juggling and it's the way that I see it.
So if you're a defender, why even juggle?
Well, I think you have to be juggling.
Why just knock everybody's pins
down? A penalty called? Who cares?
I don't know. I think
it's like, what's the penalty for it?
I think they tell the Magicians Alliance that
The Magicians Alliance. At least they're really out there.
Yeah.
This is better than esports when they just have a controller. At least they're really out there.
But that looks fun.
Hurt you, dude.
That looks fun.
Who hurt you?
That looks fun.
Like what? Like how did that even?
looks
How did
fun?
that even pop up? How did esports even pop up in your head?
Because this was
Someone
almost
hurt
as bad.
you, dog.
This is almost
You're
as bad.
safe.
No one hurt me.
You're a trust tree. You're
No one
safe
hurt
here.
me.
You're safe here.
I had to go out and put shoulder pads and a helmet on. That's what hurt me.
too.
Right?
I didn't
have a
too,
choice.
dude.
Yeah.
I didn't know combat juggling was an option.
Yeah.
Bro. How do you get good at this? Just like,
don't.
hey, I got good at juggling, and now maybe we go have a contest.
You go find a clown's son.
They're all
already
clown
dead.
sons?
I think so.
They are clowns.
I think they're clown sons. I just think
they are
Blaine-
clowns.
I just think of Blade over there playing the video game. He's like,
Yeah, please, guys, can you upgrade me to the Sword of Elrond? Thank you. 25 experience points.
I just,
That's what you think of when you think of Blade.
Why do you even know that?
I don't know. Is the Sword of Eldaron a real thing?
Oh, you want to see a real sport?
Yeah, show
you
me
want
a
to
real
see
sport,
a real
David.
sport? You want to see
me
somebody
one.
really put some
Show it
work
to
in,
me.
not combat juggling? Watch this. Watch Big Mama right here in the rugby match.
No, this
Get
is
her on
women's
my
rugby.
team.
Let's see this.
Play this, please.
Oh,
Yeah, stiff arm.
Dang.
Take that. Combat juggling.
Look, she kicked it.
Look at Big Mama.
It's Jared Lorenzo's dog.
And she's the fastest one.
Look at her.
Are you kidding
Ball
me?
out. Go, big go. What you gonna do?
What's his name?
Oh my goodness.
Hold on. This isn't a transgender situation.
No,
It's not.
no.
I think that's
No, that's a
Sorry,
girl.
could have fooled me.
I mean, look at the person
Play
on the
it
other
again.
team.
Play it again. Play it
Yeah,
again.
let's run it back
Hold
from
on,
the
watch
top.
this.
the Gus's
Stiff arm
Gloop
form.
sister. Someone pull her out of the chocolate river.
Oh, she was big.
Dude, look at these
too.
stiff arms, man. That's actually Mike Alstott's daughter.
Is that Lane
Tina
Johnson?
Alstott.
Imagine her doing combat juggling.
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Look, I think she's doing. Look,
Combat juggling. I'm trying to see if she can eat more glizzies than Joey Chestnut. That's what I'm trying to
No
find
one's
out.
beating Joey
Mine's over
Chestnut.
She
here.
might.
No, it's
like
not.
a
What do all the
15-year-old
winners
girl.
have in common? Joey Chestnut, Kobayashi, they're all skinny guys.
Okay. Well, guess what? They can fix that. That thing. Right there. You tell me the betting
going
odds aren't
straight
going to be
to
in her favorite when she gets up on that
Blaine's
stage?
punched his ticket in first. Speaking of,
I mean,
first
come
class,
on, dude.
Blaine's sitting 2B on the train to hell.
I'm not going with you either.
Yeah,
Come on, that's
no.
fun. It's hot in here.
All right, I think we got one more. I think we got one more.
Take your jacket off.
Goodness gracious. I think we got one more.
Oh, no, that's it, I think.
Oh, that's it?
That's
Okay.
it.
All right, well, you tell us what you think in the comments. You know, good luck. Go ahead. All right, let's get to the Booster Club while I walk over to the Board of Friendship, Trust, Education.
Let's go to Rolly season. Boys rocking the Rolly. $5 donation says Tennessee Vols are finally relevant in the three major sports now. Which one gets a natty first? I believe we talked about this the other day.
Baseball.
We talked about it
Baseball.
with Texas, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Texas.
Texas?
right?
With Texas.
got
But
it.
for
He's right.
Tennessee, baseball. Baseball.
I'm going to go combat juggling. Let's go to
don't
T
do
Money with a $2 donation. T Money. Maybe Philly let Sanders walk to pick up Eckler. Can we see Austin Eckler maybe to Philly?
Are you
give
kidding
Jalen
me?
Hurts, Austin Eckler with that offensive
And
line,
Jason Kelsey's coming back?
I will take all the and Lane John. I will take all the money that I have and I will put it on the Eagles to win the division.
The division.
Yeah, it's all the money I have, David. I mean, anything could happen in the playoffs.
If Philly got Austin Eckler, I'll put $1,000 future on them to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'll put 1,000 on that.
I'll put 1,000. I'll put it.
got money.
Well, of
You
course,
got
after.
money.
Hold on. After I win the March Madness.
I was about to say.
Yeah, for sure.
You go to the movies, get like a large popcorn.
March
large
Madness
drink.
bracket challenge, $1,000.
Let's go to Mike RFF
dinner.
Lifestyle. He wants to say, just to emphasize at the beginning of the show, Oreos are mid. He just wanted everybody to
I just don't understand that line of thinking.
Wait, so
To
he
me,
wouldn't
those are
go
like-
out of his way to go to the vault during a zombie apocalypse?
I just don't know how you could possibly think that Oreos aren't good. Like maybe Oreos by themselves, I can understand it, but Oreos dipped in milk. If you don't like that, you want to know how they could have found all the communists during the McCarthyism era? Just find anybody who doesn't like milk and Oreos together.
So
There
they
you
have
go.
a vault. The Oreo created a vault,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Created a vault
Doomsday
for
vault.
Doomsday Vault where the
Yes.
cookie and the recipes are in there. Here's my question. Is the golden Oreo recipe in there?
Has to be.
That's all I want to know.
Has to be. Rumor has it
it's
the
a more
original
elite cookie.
golden Oreos in there.
You know what? To be honest
They
with you,
found it
I
in a
like the
cave
mint.
in
I like the
Tanzania.
mint Oreo. You can call me
Tanzania,
crazy, Blaine.
Mint Oreo.
The mint.
Not a mint,
Mint
fan.
is the best, David. You're
Not
right.
a mint fan.
See, look at PJ.
No,
coming
look,
in
I'm a
hot.
mint chocolate chip guy, but normal Oreos.
Is it as
I
good
want
as
normal
the
Oreos.
Girl Scout cookie? No.
I like the white Oreo.
I don't want vanilla Oreos. I don't want lesbian Oreos. I want normal Oreos from the package.
Watch
They
your
got-
mouth.
they got
Have you
lit-
tried golden Oreos?
They got lesbian Oreos?
They're all right.
You've tried it?
Yeah, they're good. It's hard to screw up an Oreo. The only way they screwed it is they had a turd-flavored Oreo. And you know what? It probably wouldn't be that terrible.
I wonder if they got that in the vault.
Wow, that's
Yeah, how about that?
We're gonna make.
Meanwhile, our
one.
Booster Club bets are brought to you by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code BOOSTER as I knock everything on the table over. That's BOOSTER.
Stay on your mark.
Because new customers, shut up, man. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Kapow! Win or lose. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOSTER. No, it doesn't say kapow on the read. I made that up. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Picks today. Here's what I got. Yesterday I went 0-1-1 with a tie. Leafs, you let the Sabres score 4.
Speaking of lesbian
How
Oreos.
Boromir of you. All right, here's what I want tonight. We got basketball, NIT, and play-in games. Give me Pittsburgh playing Mississippi State plus 2.5. The disrespect to Jeff Capel. Outside of Tolu Smith, I don't believe in anybody on Mississippi State's roster, including Jeffries and Shaquille Moore. Then, I want you to parlay that with Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Their name may be long, but their game's even longer, baby. I think this team may give Alabama a little bit of a run for their money. I think they're going to beat SEMO tonight, so give me Pitt plus 2.5, Texas A&M CC money line at plus 194, and then NIT action for the first two in the second bet. Rutgers money line, Seton Hall plus 4.5, and Mississippi State Pittsburgh over 132.5. Boys, give me Pittsburgh tonight, 73-68.
I like it. All right. New Jersey Devils on a 3-game streak. Give me the Devils plus a goal and a half, and I want the game over 5.5 goals. That's plus 110. And then the Bruins and the Penguins both win minus 167.
A little hockey day, huh, Coney? We'll switch it up, go a little NBA. 2-0 yesterday. We'll take it. Thank you, Pistons. Give me Nets money line plus 104. Hashtag let's go Giants. Then give me the Hornets plus 9.5 at home. That's minus 108. Let's stay hot on the NBA picks, fellas.
Ace Cone is taking the Stars money line at minus 140, and he's also taking the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Kings money line, not Sacramento, the Kings in hockey, money line plus 173. That's LA Kings.
All right.
Not the gang.
Rolly Season with a $2 donation says Oreos are not mid.
Thank you.
Reed Ricketts says, remind me to not let Blaine have any heavenly Oreo desserts since he thinks they're so mid.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, by the way,
none for you.
Went over to
I don't
Cone's.
want any.
I went over to Cone's last weekend, and Cone was like, hey, can you bring that heavenly Oreo stuff? And Reed made it, and she wasn't in town. So I was just going to get one of those trays and put whipped cream in it and just drop Oreos in it. Be like, look, here it is.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
It's close. Yeah. I think.
Let's go to T-Money with the $5 donation. He says, Megan Rapinoe flavored Oreos.
Ew.
Tastes like he just lost to some 50-year-olds in a soccer game.
Yeah, and want to get paid for it.
Justin Decker says, that girl looks like the fridge. Stephen Moore says, Blaine with the Augustus Gloop from the Chocolate River wins the best analogy of the year. I don't care if it's only March.
Do you know
Come on, Steven.
Do you know how many Augustus Gloop analogies?
Come on, Stevie.
Pick out that one
I
with
love it.
Hagrid's daughter.
I love it. All right, let's go to EB. Good morning, fellas. Good morning to you, sir. Hope all is well. Just curious, what do you think the Bears will take at number the 9th pick? Most mock drafts have them taking an offensive lineman, it seems.
Yes.
Also wondering if you guys will make your own mock drafts leading up to the draft. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do, EB.
Yes and yes. We're going to do that, and we're going to live stream at least the first 2 rounds of the draft. So what it's looking like right now. When it comes to the Bears, put everything around Justin Fields. You added DJ Moore. I like that. You pair him with Darnell Mooney. You still need more weapons on the outside. I'm a big Cole Kmet guy. Get that offensive line right. If you get that offensive line right, Justin Fields can be a better Jalen Hurts. That's right. I said it.
All right, let's go to Barktavis. What's up, man? He says, why don't bad teams like the Texans trade the number 2 spot, then go get some great linemen to create a foundation?
They need that quarterback. Mm-hmm. Look, it's great. I mean, look, you need a foundation for makeup, but if you're really that ugly, it's not going to help. Like, you need a quarterback. You need a good face.
All right, let's go to Poll.
All
right, will the Raiders draft a quarterback with the 7th pick?
No, 64%.
Oh, that's the poll? No, 65%.
No, 59%. Yes.
I am just an absolute
1%
inferno of fire right now.
All right, let's go to Jay Jody. He says Matt Corral is the GOAT. He's a great quarterback, competitive. He is tough, and he's a leader. anybody who doesn't give him a chance is crazy.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time you called the Panthers crazy. By the way, did you see the Panthers said that there's a rumor there's a disagreement between Frank Reich and David Tepper? Tepper wants Bryce Young. Frank Reich wants C.J. Stroud. Who'd have thought that?
Hey, Frank, shut up.
The coach, yeah. Hey, Frank, be quiet. Here, you work for me, bud. Take Bryce Young. Because guess what? If it doesn't work, it's my fault. But you're so fired.
Let's go to Jimbo Eagle. Question for the Booster Club. Is it possible for any college basketball program to be consistently successful running a full court press defense every game?
Yeah, I watched, in today's age, I think there is. If you have depth, I watched Mike Anderson do it, his whole career. There's a lot of guys who, and look, I think he's talking about like 40 minutes of hell, like where we're trapping, we're pressing full court the whole game. I'm not talking about the 3/4 court pressure and some of this token pressure that you get. Mike Anderson, some of these teams, I can't remember if Nolan Richardson did it at Arkansas. I think he may have started. I think that's where Mike Anderson got it from. You don't see it a ton anymore, but again, if I turn on the tape of Purdue, if I'm Texas Southern or Fairleigh Dickinson or, whatever JV team's got to run into Purdue, I am pressing you the whole game. Yeah. I'm talking about like first visit to your father-in-law's. I'm pressing you for 40 minutes. Like, I got to know if you can get past it.
Let's go to Chris E. He wants to know what we think of the Michigan State-USC matchup.
I'm excited for it.
I hate picking this game.
I'm excited for it. I'm going to take Michigan State.
I just don't like, this is one of the games I look at and I'm like, man, damn. Like, this is one of the ones that's going to get me. Because I know what's going on. I like Michigan State right now. But you got Boogie Ellis and Drew Peterson at USC who are going to close their eyes and hit a bunch of threes for one game and then totally forget the next one. But I want to believe in Tom Izzo and I want to believe in Tyson Walker. I really, really, really do. But the more I watch Joey Hauser, I just don't trust him. It's hard for me to trust him. I haven't seen Hogard hit a three the whole year. It's like Michigan State's got all these good-looking players, but nobody can shoot outside of Walker. When you look at it, Walker's the only one making shots. Him and Hauser, Hauser can get hot. I don't know. Those are the ones that suck. Like I don't know who to take in that one. Mm-hmm. Like Texas A&M and Penn State, I'm like,
just don't know.
Like I'm like Spider-Man Jib. Like whoever hits more free throws.
All right, real quick before we wrap, two things. Jeff Tink says Jake looking Metro this morning. He said you've been in Nashville too long.
Look at Metro. Look, I'm about to take my kids on a ski trip, dog. I don't know what you're talking about. This is that Leo Vici.
Micro FF Lifestyle says Duke is in the tourney and UNC, isn't it? This is glorious, and we'll probably get to this tomorrow. USA Out says, how do you feel about North Carolina not accepting their NIT bid?
I'll get into that tomorrow. I don't mind it. This has got to be great retribution for Duke after North Carolina retired Coach K and put him out of the tournament. Yeah. Duke gets in the tournament. North Carolina's not. Mm-hmm. It's all cyclical. It's like a circle. Never ends.
Sure.
All right, parting shots. Y'all got anything?
Oh, yes. Parting thought. Jason LaFleur, shout out to you, man. I'm not going to share the whole story you shared with me, but shout out to your baby girl, Nora Lee.
Yeah.
Hey, God's got her, man, for sure. And then Sister Rig, shout out to you for knitting Ava a dress and some socks. You guys got to see it.
Dion Green just had back surgery a couple of weeks ago.
Down under.
Doing better. I saw him in the chat today. Dion, stay healthy, my guy.
Yep, stay healthy over there, man. Keep an eye out in Australia over there. Y'all getting some weird stuff. We appreciate you guys. Remember, the bracket challenge, the link's in the description, the link to the terms and conditions in the description. It's free to enter. You can win $1,000, but you're not because I'm going to. So make sure you check us out on all social media, subscribe on YouTube, go to the Daily Wire Plus, and sign up. And like the chances of Miami being healthy for the NCAA tournament, we're going, gone.